Poppin' guys, you got your boy Nantre here. Welcome to another video. So for this video, I'm gonna be doing both the Runecraft as well as Dragoncraft review from Chronogenesis. So like I said, this is gonna be part 2. This is a 4-part thing. The other 4 parts will be I'm gonna be going down in like descending order, so you can go ahead and like check those out when I go ahead and upload them. So starting off, we'll be starting off with the Runecraft legendary Silverblade Golem. Silverblade Golem is an 8 mana 6/6 with Ward. And Fanfare, transform each Earth Sigil amulet in your hand into a Verdic Ritual. Fanfare, Earthright, put a Verdic Ritual into your hand. Repeat for remaining Earth Sigil amulets in play. So basically, this guy transmutes both everything you have, both every sigil in both in your hand and in play, into Verdic Rituals. Verdic Rituals are a 2 mana 3 damage spell, and the 3 damage spell can go anywhere. It can hit creatures, it can hit face. So basically, this guy is like a sort of like repurposed version of Rose Queen. This guy is slightly both better and worse at the same time. The reason why he's better is because you're using sigils. So this guy, you can use it as like a massive like sigil dump like in the late game. But it's worse because, well, 90% of your deck as dirt really wants those sigils. So this guy like is unlikely to get like so this guy is like unlikely to get nearly as many sigils as people think he will. However, it still has ward and it still has 6/6, and so it can still, you know, get in like a little bit damage and get you to, you know, like where you need. So assuming like average case scenario, this guy will both live. Well, sorry, assuming average case scenario in which this guy also lives, you're threatening to do on average 12 damage with this guy, 6 from his attack, and then 6 from the Verdic Rituals in your hand. And that's pretty good. It's a decent finisher. Now where he'll see play, I have no idea, because for me, as you know, like I usually don't play. Well, I mean I do sort of play them, but I usually don't really play the type of dirt decks that this guy would like want to be played in. I mean, you can obviously just play it for like a 6 mana 6/6 with ward. But you're obviously going to want to get as many Verdic Rituals as you can, so you can just go ahead and like bop your opponent in the face with burn spells. It does mean that you can possibly like take burn dirt into like a different direction in which you kind of like do mid-range things, and you kind of curve out at this, and that'll be kind of cool. But I don't know where else we'll see play. Like I do know that there's a version there's like a version that people are like working on that uses both this guy as well as Mysteria, which we'll talk about next. Mysteria Magic Founder. So quick backstory. This girl is the girl that like owns, I guess, like the magic school, Mysteria like Magic Academy or whatever, where like all those like characters in the game like go to, like for example Anne and Greya. As well as Lou, like things like that. Alright, so this girl is a 5 mana 4/4, evolves into a 6/6, and Fanfare, give your leader the following effect: your spells deal +1 damage. This lasts for the rest of the match. So this in stack, I believe, is part of the whole emblem series, which, as you know, like I think like every single class except for like Sword and I believe Dragonewt now have emblems. I think. No, Force is also missing one too. Yeah. But basically, emblem effects are really strong, just because, like, again, as I mentioned in the Sword thing, like they're somewhat to some degree like anecdotal. Like sometimes they're gonna matter quite a bit, sometimes they won't matter as much. But in this case, this one matters quite a bit, because like adding +1 to both spells that can go face as well as spells they can use to clear does make certain things like a little bit more crazy. Like for example, a Piercing Rune, which ordinarily was actually like nerfed at one point for being a little bit too strong, now kind of reaches that point where it's like a little bit, where it becomes like a little bit like too strong again. So one thing you can do is after you've buffed this at least once with the Mysteria, it now means that your Piercing Runes will most likely read either 4 mana or 2 mana, but ideally usually 2 mana. 2 mana, deal 3 to a creature, deal 3 to the opponent's space. That's quite a bit of damage, like kind of coming in nice and hot. It makes Magic Missile a little bit better. Magic Missile now reads deal 2 damage to anything you like, draw a card for 2 mana. That's crazy. Now granted, one of the things that is good is that that's only on spells. It's not on like Earth Sigil effects, because that would just be, you know, like nuts. But this is still really good at what it does. It also has premium. It also has like premium or near premium evo stats. It has like similar stats to that like Belphegor, which again is also another utility creature, but they both kind of occupy that same spacing of utility creature that also hits like hard as a truck. And that'll be very, very big. Now, I know people are planning to play this in the whole like Mysteria deck, which we'll be talking about as I go deeper into the review, as well as people plan to play it on both Burn Rune, as well as also Tempo Daria. Like a lot of different places that people are gonna like play this, or that people are gonna like play this card in. And this card is as close as we're probably going to get to for the like foreseeable future to a ubiquitous sort of Runecraft legendary that kind of like goes into all archetypes. Now, obviously, the archetype that it won't go into is probably D-Shift, just because like D-Shift doesn't really play creatures, and when they do, the creature usually has to like impact the board. But hitting as many nails on the head as like this creature does is still very, very impressive nonetheless. The next card is Grand Summoning. Grand Summoning is a 6 mana gold card. Earthright, give +1/+0 to all allied followers, including followers summoned by this card. And that's also summon a Guardian Golem, a Clay Golem, and a Scrap Golem. So we're gonna look at this from two aspects. We're gonna look at it without the Earthright, and we're gonna look at with the Earthright. So without the Earthright, you effectively get a 3/3 ward, a 2/2, and then a 0/2 ward. So you effectively get a 5/7 for 6 mana without any of these creatures evolving. That's really good. But if any of these creatures do evolve, and you now suddenly get 7/9 worth of stats, that's a lot of stats for just like playing one card. You also get like Board Flood. It's also spread out across like different bodies. That's also very, very good, because like it increases the likelihood of something sticking, and / it forces AoE. Now with the Earthright, however, like that changes things a little bit. It makes things a little bit more crazier. It now means you get a 4/3 ward, a 3/2, and a 1/2. So you effectively get, I believe it's now 8/7 worth of stats without an Evo, and then with an Evo it transforms into 10/9 worth of stats. That's gross. Please don't do that to me. that's gross. This kind of like revitalizes certain archetypes of Rune. Like for example, it's really good in Daria, because one of the things, so the reason why it's good in Daria, the reason why I think it's good in Daria is because one of the things that Daria kind of runs out with it is that like sometimes you kind of run out of like board fills or things to do with your mana when you're like in top deck mode. This card is a pretty good card to top deck when you're just trying to like either stall for Daria or just stall to do other things. Very, very powerful at doing that. It's also really good and say certain things like say D-Shift, just because again it gives you a lot of stalling potential. It also helps you do something with your sigils if you're playing the dirt version of D-Shift. And of course, it's also good in the Mysteria deck as well, just because like people will love. I'm not gonna say people love board fills, but board fills are pretty good when you're trying to like when you have like massive like threat density. And this card just like lets you do that. Also, the artwork on this card is really cool, so I definitely think this we'll see a lot of play. Again, where it will find its like primary home, that remains to be seen, but it's definitely a really good card. Next card is Class President Hanna, 5 mana 4/4 Runecraft Gold. Right, and it has the Mysteria trait. So again, the Mysteria trait is part of like all these creatures or things like that go to like this Mysteria Academy, which I think is the name of the school. But yeah, so this girl is at the end of your turn, randomly put one of the following creatures into your hand. Randomly put one of the following cards into your hand: Mysterian Missile or Mysterian Circle. If you have played a Mysteria card this turn, put a Mysterian Rite into your hand instead. So Alright, so I'm pretty sure she targets herself, but I'm not sure. Like if you're just always gonna get the Mysterian Rite instead. But I feel like she probably doesn't target herself for that effect. So who knows? But she's still a very, very good card, just because like. Again, she has the premium or near premium stats for being a 5 mana with a utility effect, and that's always where you want to be at. Just because she's guaranteed to get you at least a +1 just because of her effect, and then she'll also get you a +2 just because she's going to kill a creature and then probably go even with a third creature, and that's very, very good. Just because if you can stay up ahead on cards on your opponent, this lets you do a lot of like crazy things, and it helps you like build a lead of some sort. we'll go ahead and we'll cover the Mysterian Missile and the Mysterian Circle as we get to them, because I off the top of my head I don't remember what they do. The next card is Nova Flare. So Nova Flare is basically a pyroclasm for those of you who play MTG. But it's a 4-mana deal 2 to all followers. So this card is actually really good. Now this card unfortunately isn't seeing as much like hype or as much like anticipation as I've like seen people like talk about. But this card is still very good. One of the issues they have in general with this game is that like a lot of classes don't really have all of the answers that they would like to for like dealing with like aggro, and this kind of, you know, it kind of gives back to the people who if they want to play this card to deal with aggro, you can play this card to deal with aggro. This card also deals very good with mid range. It also helps a lot with Sword, because Sword usually only plays 2 HP followers. So very good card overall. The other thing is that like you can play this particular card in a lot of different decks. Like you can play it in D-Ship, you can play it in Neutral Rune, you can play it in you can play it in like Mysterian Rune, you can play it in like anything you want pretty much, and it'll always be pretty good at what it does. Joycrafter Sammy. So this one is a reprint of Sammy, the basic card they get at like the start of playing this game. But this one is fanfare. Both players draw a card. It's a 4-mana 3/4, evolves into a 5/6. This card might see play if people ever make Mill Rune become a thing. Otherwise, I don't think it'll see play. Well, sorry, I don't think it'll see like much competitive play. There we go. The next card is Silent Laboratory. Fanfare, randomly summon one of the following, either a Clay Golem or a zombie. So at the moment, there's no like super huge distinction on why you should care that much if you get either the Clay Golem or the zombie. But one of the cards that I'm going to be talking about, as we get to it, does actually matter if you have the zombie. It does actually matter if you have the Clay Golem, but the zombie is so much not really mattering that much. But zombies are kind of a sub theme for Rune, just because, as you know, Isabelle's trying to like revive her boyfriend Kyle. So, but for this card though, this card is actually really good. The reason why it's good is because in the past, they used to play. There was this card that like I forget what it's called, but like it's a 3-mana card. You get a 2/2, and then you also get a Sigil in play. And that card is really good, just because like this was back when like Dirt had a lot of issues like getting sigils. But this card fulfills the same role that card does, except this card is a little bit better because this card actually scales up slightly because of, again, the Clay Golem thing. But it's also 2 mana. So 2 mana it helps you out with the whole as Burn Dirt or just, you know, regular Dirt. What do I do if I miss my 2-drop? Because you only have so many 2-drops to play it in Rune on turn 2. Like for example, you situationally can play Illusionist, you situationally can play Dwarf Alchemist, but you never want to play Illusionist unless you have a Sigil in play, and you never want to play Levi, which is the other 2-drop you have. And this guy kind of helps you like fulfill that role, and also gives you extra sigils, which are now more so important now that we have Silverblade Golem. So definitely a good card. Will it see play? Who knows? I think it will though, just because like it's essentially a 2-mana 2/2 with an upside, and that's always good. The next card is Mysterian Knowledge. Mysterian Knowledge is a 1-mana spell, Silver, Mysteria. Randomly put one of the following cards into your hand: Mysterian Missile or Mysterian Circle. Again, we'll go ahead and we'll talk about that. I believe this is the card that Hanna gets you. I don't remember though. No, it is not the card that Hanna gets you. Alright. But still, it's really good just because it's a 1-mana spell. Again, upside. Things like D-Ship will probably play this just because like, it's a 1-mana spell that gives you another spell. So this essentially gives you 2 spell boosts. It also gives you things to be doing with your mana if you like don't have things to do. That's always very good. Like other decks will probably play this as well, just because like getting free cards is always very nice. Expel Soul. This is another Runecraft card, 7 mana, bronze. Destroy an enemy follower, draw 1 card, spell boost, draw 1 more card. So this card, it's not good per se. The reason why I don't think it's good is because like you're paying 7 mana to basically play an execution as well as an insight. So you're actually overpaying on mana to do so. And the only time this card gets good is if you can draw a lot of cards. But if you can draw a lot of cards, this also probably means that you're probably going to mill a lot of cards at the same time, and that kind of like makes the whole effect redundant. So kind of awkward card. It's really, really good in draft format though. But just because like having like giant spot removal that like also replaces itself is kind of decent. But like for constructed, I don't think that this will see play. Chain Lightning. So this is another big card. People have been talking about this card quite a bit. Alright, so this card is 5 mana, deal 3 to an enemy, put a Chain Lightning into your hand if you have 3 less cards in your hand. So a lot of people have been saying that this card is going to be great with Oz. So let me clarify something. This card is going to be good with Oz, but not for the reason that people think it is. This card is going to be good with Oz just because like this card helps you double down on the whole Oz and do a bunch of burn spells and burn out your opponent. However, if you're trying to aim for like some sort of situation in which you can go ahead and play the Chain Lightning and then the Chain Lightning comes back to your hand, that doesn't make any sense at all, because that's also assuming that your Oz is going to live, because as you know, if the Oz dies, all of your spells get banished. So this card is kind of nice just because like it's kind of nice for those situations that I mentioned before when you're like playing stuff like say Dirt and you either have sigils or you have Dirt, where you either have sigils or you have sigil eaters, but you don't have both of them. And it kind of gives you something to do with like free turns if you're just like passing or just like playing on creatures, in which you can just go ahead and just like bam, 3 damage to your face with 3 damage to your creature, and just like try to tread water off that, and that'll be kind of cool. We'll see much play. I don't think so, but like it's definitely a really cool card. The artwork looks kind of decent as well. The next card is Mysterian Summoner Vayle. This one is a bronze 3 and a 2/2, evolves into a 4/4. Whenever you play a Mysteria card, summon a Bunnicorn Nic-Nic. if there isn't an allied Bunnicorn Nic-Nic in play, of course the evolve has the same effect. I don't remember what a Bunnicorn Nic-Nic is, so I guess we'll figure that out as we keep going. Oh, but the card in and of itself, depending on like what Bunnicorn Nic-Nic does, is pretty good. Just because like being able to give like extra value to spells that you play that are already giving you value if you're playing them in your deck in the first place is always very, very good. Mr. Bertrand, Magic Mentor. Alright, so this one is a 2 mana 2/2, evolves into a 4/4. Its last words: if you played another Mysteria card this turn, randomly put one of the following cards into your hand: Mysterian Missile or Mysterian Circle. So this card is going to be kind of good, but it's also kind of bad at the same time. The reason why is because like you always want to have this card die in your turn, but like unless you're evolving it and suiciding it into something, or unless you went first, it's almost assuredly never going to die on your own terms. Like your opponent is almost always going to kill it before you can get the effect off of it. However, it is nice in a sense that you are in fact going to force your opponent to kill this off on their terms as opposed to your terms. So it does kind of give it a little bit like value back. However, how good it is remains to be seen, and it's going to be largely based off the spells you get to it, which I still have no idea what they do because I don't remember. But still, being a 2/2 that has an upside is always good, and this will definitely see play in the Mysteria deck itself. Alright, so now we finally get to the Mysterian Rite. 5 mana spell, bronze. Whenever you play a Mysteria card, if this card costs 5 play points, change its cost to 3. Deal 3 damage to an enemy. Summon a Guardian Golem. Okay, so yeah, I've now changed my mind. This card is actually like crazy. So the reason why this card is crazy is because like if you're getting this card off of Hanna, which I believe you will, it essentially gives you like a tempo removal card. So granted, you have to play out another creature, another Mysteria card in the first place, but that's still fine because like this card lets you essentially kill a creature if you want to, or deal face damage, and then also get a Guardian Golem to protect your face. So it helps you kind of simplify the board state as well as build a board of your own at the same time. And that's very, very good. Just because like if it fills the whole role of like tempo, which for the most part like Runecraft decks have largely been a part of. Just because like you either get cheap spells or you get crazy low cost spells to do things with. The next card is going to be the Verdic Ritual that I mentioned before. Again. Oh, okay, so it's even better than that. So it's even better than I remembered it being. Right, so it's 2 mana, deal 3 damage to an enemy, and then Earthright you get to draw a card too. So this is actually kind of nice if you ever get more ways to get like bonus sigils, because it does mean that for some reason you can play up that if you can go like Silverblade Golem and they can like play out like a bunch of Carls or something silly like that. They can like cycle each of these Verdic Rituals while you're hitting your opponent in the face for 3 damage. So that's really funny and really cool. I want to do that to someone now. We finally get to see the Mysterian Missile. Yeah, so this is deal 3 damage to an enemy, deal 1 damage to the enemy leader. So again, this is like a piercing rune. However, remember that was both this, the Verdic Ritual, as well as the Mysterian Rite. If you do manage to play a Mysteria, all of these cards get like crazy better. Like suddenly this is dealing 4 damage to a creature. If you deal 4 damage to a creature for 3 mana, and they also get to get a Guardian Golem in the process, that's really strong. Because like at 4 damage, like there's not many creatures that you don't kill like for free. Like that's insane. With the Verdic Ritual, this will now be a 4 damage thing, so it'll actually up the amount of damage that you would deal ordinarily with the Silver Golem. If you remember correctly, like when I reviewed the card, I believe I said that you'd be doing like 12 damage with it, ideally. However, now you can deal 12 damage if you just get like three procs. If you just like get like 3 copies of this, and you have the Hanna proc, or sorry, you have the Hanna emblem active, or you can deal up to 14 damage if again you get 2 procs of this, and then also the Silverblade Golem lives, which again, he's kind of beefy, so there's actually a disturbing chance that he might actually live. With the Mysterian Missile, that'll now read after a Mysteria proc, it will now read 4 damage to an enemy, which again, as I said, is already really good, and then 2 damage to the enemy leader. So basically, like super piercing rune. That's really crazy. And then lastly, Mysterian Circle. This is summon a Clay Golem, and then give ward to all allied Clay Golems. So this is nice because again, with Grand Summoning, it means you can go ahead and get another ward and ward up. Like wards are very good. And then decks like D-Ship will probably want this just because like being able to stall it with wards and also spell boost at the same time. It's it's what you want. Like you want to be able to stall and be able to like build for your D-Ships. You also want this if you're maybe a deck playing Grand Summoning, and of course you'll want this if you're playing the Mysteria deck as a whole. Like both very powerful. I definitely think that this card will see play. Well, sorry, I mean I know this card will see play because like people are gonna play the Mysteria deck, but like the Mysteria deck is like really cool. And then of course we get to Bunnicorn Nic-Nic, which is last word spell boost the cards in your hand. So this is a little bit less good than what I thought it would be, because it but it's still a 1/1 they get for free. That's always that's always good. And the art is obviously very cute if you care about that. Alright, so on to Dragoncraft, make no mistake, I'm gonna be like low-key biased on some of these cards. Just because it's Dragoncraft. Like anyway, the first card is gonna be Azi Dahaka. So first, before we even get started, I just want you all to know I really want an anime copy of Azi Dahaka. And as you know, with the whole Python meme, like in which I could not pull a Python. Granted, by the way, PSA, I actually pulled a Python, by the way. Anyway, if you pull copies of this, feel free to go ahead and send them my way. Go ahead and like meme whatever you got to do. Anyway, onto the card itself. It's a 10-mana 6/8 that evolves into an 8/10 and looks badass at the same time. And unevolved to hit its Storm. Whenever an ally follower evolves, subtract 1 from the cost of this card. Now, the cost reduction, it only works if the copies of Azi Dahaka are in your hand. But this is kind of cool because like it's essentially a Genesis Dragon, but it can also kind of scale up a little bit. The reason why it can kind of scale up is because like again, as I mentioned before, cost reduction when it's not like massive cost reduction, but like when it's only like nickel and dimes. It's kind of anecdotal, but there are certain like kind of interesting things they can do with it. Like for example, you can go if you cost reduce this once, you can go ahead and you can go Azi Dahaka on 10, and then also play like a 1-mana spell. Like for example, you can play like you can play like a Blazing Breath or something like that, and that's kind of cool. If you can get 2 tags on this, again, you can now upgrade and play like a Breathless Lavender instead to clear a creature and then go face. Kind of cool. So this card is like 100% going to see play, because like Dragoncraft generally for the most part, the current like design for them is that like people want the end game like people being both players as well as like the developers, the end game of Dragon to be like you go ahead and you grab a big dude and you just like hit your opponent in the face like a truck with said big dude. And Azi Dahaka fits that role to a T. But obviously, like the Evo to gain like cost reduction is kind of cool. I'm really curious to see what they do with that in possibly like future releases. I don't think it'll ever reach a point where it gets like too like crazy out of hand, but still really nice. Just because I believe I mentioned this before, although I never actually uploaded a video. But I'll go ahead and upload a video later on why I think like Azi Dahaka is good and why I think it's both better and worse than Genesis Dragon. So I'll be like its own separate video. Alright. But yeah, 5 out of 5 card, 10 out of 10 art, maybe even 15 out of 10 art. Anyway, next card, Zirnitra, Dragon's Flame. So this one is 7 mana 2/3. Fanfare, summon a Hellflame Dragon. If you don't know what a Hellflame Dragon is, it's a dragon they get off of Dragon Song Flute. So it's a 4 mana 4/3. Sorry, it's a 2 mana 4/3 with Rush. And then her next effect is whenever an allied Dragoncraft follower that originally costs 3 play points or less comes into play, give it +0/+1. So this card is really good. Initially, a lot of easy comparisons that people made to this card was being that of like say Ektar. In that Ektar, you know, it comes out, he says Koshi and Seo, you get kind of sad and or tilted, and then he kind of wipes your board. Well, Zirnitra does kind of similar to that. Now, parts and where like this card is both better and worse than Zirnitra is both better and worse than Ektar is that like the stats are allocated a little bit differently. If we assume that a Hellflame Dragon is a 4/4 on entry because of, you know, it will be because of the Zirnitra, and we assume that the Zirnitra herself is a 2/3. If you don't evolve anything, you essentially for 7 mana you get a 6/7, and then across 2 bodies, and then one of those bodies is Rush. If you evolve, you essentially get +4/+0. Sorry, +4/+4 on your evolve, which is kind of insane. You get another body to clear another unit on the board, and you're threatening for this girl to stay alive. If she stays alive, your opponent's gonna be in a very awkward spot. If you can keep playing out low cost creatures. Now this card is very good. I think it'll see play on a lot of different things. Now, whether or not the play will be like super widespread, that's largely going to be based off of the Dragoncraft community of themselves. Because right now, like a lot of people they really like playing like Queen combo and things like that. But yet again, like this card is very good. Just because even though I mentioned that it is like Ektar, one of the things that Ektar can't do is Ektar can't come out on turn 5. This girl can. Like she can come out on turn 5 or turn 6 because like the average ramp for a Dragon player is 2 ramp per game. So again, having this come out to you on your turn, say like turn 4 before you can evolve, or your turn 5 after you've evolved is very devastating. If that happens to you, you're going to feel very bad because you're going to be forced into a very awkward spot. Do you clear off the 4Xs that are starting to take you in the face for 10, or do you clear off this girl who's making all of this like nonsense happen in the first place? Yeah, definitely a really great card, and I definitely think that like as more and more things rotate out, people will probably start seeing how good this card is. For me personally, I definitely plan 100% to play it on release, so definitely go ahead and check that out when I go ahead and make like decks or whatever. I do plan to make quite a few videos for this, but yeah. 5 out of 5, 10 out of 10 art. Alright, next card is Frenzied Drake. Frenzied Drake, despite looking very badass, is very cool. So it's fanfare, deal X damage to all other followers. X equals the number of Dragoncraft cards in your hand. So this card is good and bad. So it's good because if you are in fact playing Dragoncraft, if you are in fact playing a deck that has lots of Dragoncraft cards in it, or can generate a lot of Dragoncraft cards in it, which I'll get to later, it becomes very good because its base body is enormous. Like 7/7 for 9 is no joke. The other thing is that on average, you only really need to have 3 Dragoncraft followers in your hand for this card to be great, because for the most part, most decks in the game don't have their creatures go above 3 HP. So this card can kind of come out, just nuke their board for free. This is the turn before Bahamut comes out, so you kind of like buy space, and you kind of like threaten for this creature to go ahead and just like, you know, end the game, because there's also the threat of a looming Azi Dahaka. So Azi Dahaka plus this guy is like 13 damage. You do not want to eat 13 damage from these 2 bad boys. You just don't want that to happen. Now, even though that's like really good, one of the current pressing issues with this card is that, well, Israfil exists. Israfil exists, Sahak exists. And as a result, people are kind of hard pressed to kind of like leave that territory of playing the more like neutral based version of Dragon. However, I definitely think that there is a home for this guy, and that he's not trash because the whole Israfil exists, but that like it's one of those like there's definitely trade-offs to both of them. Like Israfil usually requires an Evo to come out, or it requires you to be like very ahead, or for you to be versus someone who can't like heal you. Whereas like this guy doesn't heal you, but doesn't require an Evo to come out, and has comparable stats, and also has like slightly lowered roll compression, because like you won't need to feed Evos to Israfil, and it also doesn't require you to run Sahak well. So that's kind of big. I'll definitely be playing a list with this as well as a list with Sahak, and you kind of compare the two, figure out exactly which style of dragon you like, and you can play that. But definitely this card is way better than people are giving it credit for, because one of the arguments I've seen for this card is that, people don't play Wrath Drake, so why would they play this card? That's not true. People do actually play Wrath Drake, and at one point Wrath Drake was actually a very big staple card. However, at the moment it's less so of a staple card, just because like the current metagame format doesn't require you to play Wrath Drake. Wrath Drake as well as Clown Flag were very big back when I think it was like 4 out of 7 decks could just like flood the board with like 2/2s all at once. But not many decks do that at the moment. Like for example, you don't really see mid-range sword because people think mid-range sword is a joke. Well, it also has difficulties playing it. Havencraft, they're usually playing Stormhaven, so they usually don't have followers in the first place. Shadowcraft, again, like Shadowcraft was ironic enough one of like the decks in which you wanted to like run like things like this in the first place. And it's still like really good in Shadowcraft, just because you don't require an Evo to do this, and that's very important. Granted, you won't get the heal, but you're Dragoncraft, you already have like a billion heal anyway, so like you shouldn't really mind like losing 4 heal in order to get like this type of effect. But yeah, well, I'll definitely go ahead and talk about it more like when I actually go ahead and post the video with said deck list. But yeah, 5 out of 5. Sorry, 10 out of 10 art, 4 out of 5 to 5 out of 5 effect. The next card is Dragonrend Quake. So for those of you who play HS, you'll immediately notice that this card is, sorry. Let me go ahead and quickly clear my throat. Sorry about that. God. All right, cool. Sorry about that. So for those of you who play HS, you'll immediately notice that this card is basically that of Sleep, is basically a copy of Sleep with the Fishes, except with a slight upside. However, unlike in HS, the class that I got this card, they don't really have good ping effects. Like, okay, sorry, I lied. They don't really have whirlwind effects like a quick effect that just deals one to everything on the board. It's also kind of relevant. Granted, we do have Dragon Wings, but that's an unlimited, and I don't think you'll want to play this card if you get to unlimited, and I don't think you yet want to play this card in like a rotation either. However, the effect in and of itself is very powerful, because like for 4 mana, if your opponent has like numerous like injured creatures on the board, you effectively get to play a 4 mana Themis. That's insane. Like you get to play a 4 mana Themis in the class that can abuse the tempo loss of playing a Themis. That's gross. But I don't yet think that this card will get a chance to shine, just because like it's really hard to get like that many injured creatures in the first place. It's just like a clean clear, and most times if you could, you would just use Israfil or something like that instead, and that's kind of big. So yeah. But this card definitely has potential, which is very, very important, because like usually most times in most sets, like when we get Dragoncraft cards, like some of them are just like literally like vanilla garbage, but this card is not one of them, so that's good. Next card is Aiela Dragon Sword. So Aiela Dragon Sword is kind of huge, because I immediately knew that one, rotations were going to happen when we didn't get a way to ramp in Starforge Legends. I immediately knew that was going to happen, but before they made the announcement, I just knew, okay, all rotations are going to happen. So if you don't already know, my current like working theory with like a rotation is that like at any given point in time, they're probably going to have about like 4 or 5 ramp cards in rotations at any point in time. Now, how spaced out they'll be is gonna probably be like is gonna be like interesting, just because like we are in fact losing 2 ramp cards when ROB rotates, which will be in set 8. But for this card is very, very good and very, very interesting. The reason why it's interesting is because like one of the issues with Aiela is that like as you may have seen on like a lot of my videos, I'll just use Aiela as like a win condition in and of herself, just because I know people hate to kill this card, like absolutely just like despise killing this card, and they're just like let me like keep it in play and just like keep hitting them for like 2 to 4 damage a piece. Like sometimes I've dealt as much as up to 18 damage with 1 Aiela. That's ridiculous on so many ways, but like I have proof that it happened, and things like that. Like, but like for this card, you automatically right. So there's like slight trade-offs. So in the past, one of the issues that you used to have when you were playing versus like things like say Haven or like things like say Rune is that like sometimes people would actually petrification your Aiela before you could like kill it off. But now that the effect is tied to an Evo, you can always get the effect when you want it. Well, usually when you want it. However, one slight thing is that this does actually slightly stealth nerf the amount of ramp they can get per game, because generally you're going to want to evolve one of these once, and then you're going to probably want to evolve a Sybil once. Now, what does that mean for the other 2 Aiela Dragon Swords in your deck? Well, those will probably be dead, and they'll just be like vanilla tutus. But conversely, you can maybe end up in games where you're going second, and you then get to go Aiela Dragon Sword evolve, Aiela Dragon Sword evolve, Sybil evolve, or something like that. In which case, you'll still be right on track, and you'll still be like doing the whole like ramp game thing. So this card is probably better going second than it is going first, which is kind of interesting, because like Aiela was good going first and good going second. So there's definitely a slight trade-off for that. Another trade-off, which I think this one is like huge and that no one's talking about, and it's kind of making me sad, is that Aiela Dragon Sword, it forces the dragon opponent to not evolve Stormians into your face. That's actually very, very important, because one of the reasons why people have hated Genesis Dragon this expansion is because like, oh, Genesis Dragon comes down, he evolves into like a 9/11, hits you in the face for 9, he has 11 HP, so you can't clear it ordinarily and just die. Well, now this card kind of helps you know take away from that. Like it helps make those types of plays even possible in the first place. That 2 damage, that 3 damage overall, that Dragoncraft will not be missing in rotation is actually really, really, really big. Just because, like, again, it means that certain other plays that Dragoncraft would like to do, they might not be able to do it anymore. Like, for example, one thing that people usually do is they usually, if they can do it, like for example, I know me personally, I usually try to do this if I can, is I'll go ahead and Evo a Sybil, and then my next Evo will be on an Israfil, but it's kind of hard to get that much ramp unless you're evolving the Aiela Dragon Sword. So if you're doing that and you're going second, well, what are you going to use that last evolve on? Are you going to use it on the Sybil, or are you going to use it on the Israfil? Sybil got nerfed already, so like you can't always just play out like a tempo 3/4 Sybil and not get punished for it. Like you can get punished for it now. Like, whereas like say with a 4/5, like you can't really get punished for that, but now the nerf happened, you can get punished for that. So this does change, you know, quite a few things. It does make things a little bit easier for people who aren't on Dragon, that are playing versus Dragon. I mean, I definitely expect people to still complain about Dragon, just because people have always complained about Dragon and will probably always complain about Dragon. So, but definitely a great card. We'll definitely see play as a 3/0. The next card is Tower Warden Adelle. So this one is actually really big. So this one is 4 mana 3/3 that evolves into a 5/5, and it's Ward Fanfare. If only one other allied followers in play, gain Drain. So this one is kind of huge. So one of the things that sometimes happens with Dragon is that like you sometimes one, don't have as many wards as you would like, because sometimes we don't play Grimnir, sometimes we don't play Rahab or things like that, and then 2, you don't really have like a really, really aggressive mid-game beater that's not Sybil in the mid-game, and this guy or girl does both. So the having one other allied follower and play thing is kind of sometimes hard to achieve, but I think you can do it. If you're versus aggro, this will be great just because like there are certain cards that people just ignore all the time. Like for example, people ignore Aiela, people ignore Singer, people ignore Dragon Summoner. All three of those cards, if you ignore that versus me and you're aggro and I'm going second and I play Tower Warden and Adelle on 4 and I evolve and I kill a creature that you have in play, you're going to lose that game. You're going to lose that game because like, oh, I have a 5x in play that's both massive and also just healed me for 5 or actually in reality healed me for a little bit more than 5. It will heal me for about up to 8 or 10 HP. Or sorry, up to about like 7 to 8 HP, maybe even 9. The reason why is because you evolve, you kill a creature, you're obviously going to kill a creature that has like say 4 attack or less. So and then you got to heal for 5. You also got to remove 4 power off the field. They'll have to trade it into your creature in the first place. That's already 1 more healing before they can hit your face, and that's really good. You'll obviously, I think, play this probably like a good turn to play this card will probably be on like 6 mana. Like it now means that on like 6 mana you can get like Dragon Summoner into like Adelle, and that'll be like really cool. So definitely looking forward to seeing this card being played. The other like slight unfortunate drawback is that like this card will almost always want an Evo, and again your Evos are kind of hard to allocate now that I like got like stealth nerfed or whatever by getting like repurposed to being an evolve effect. So this is definitely cool because like it gives more decisions for the dragon player to make, which means that like the worst dragon players are gonna be like even worse, and the better dragon players are gonna be even better. The next card is Marion, Fierce Dragonewt. So this one is Fanfare, transform a Dragoncraft card in your hand into a Blazing Breath. So this card I thought was going to be good initially, but like it's not good. Like, or sorry, rather it's not that it's not good. It's that like it doesn't do what I want it to do. So as you may know, one of the things that's been like big for me is that like I really want like the option for optional effects in the game. Like for example, I really want like if I don't want to have to play like an enhanced breathless salamander, to have the option to not play an enhanced breathless salamander. And that's kind of the issue with this card, is that like you're forced to always transmute a Dragoncraft card into your hand into a Blazing Breath if you want to play this card. One of the possible upsides for this is that like if you're versus aggro, this card would be great. Like it'll be amazing. Like you getting extra Blazing Breaths in your hand versus aggro it's gonna be insane. Like, but if you're versus like anything else, like if you're to say versus control, you're gonna feel awful about playing this card because it won't do anything and you won't be able to play it. Like because you want to have as much gas as possible when you're versus control. Like and also probably like when you're versus combo as well. So like. It's gonna be a card that's gonna be for isolated and very specific metas. Like for example, if we're in like a meta game where we're in like in say like month 1 of Starforge Legends, in which like we saw aggro sword all over the place, yeah, like this card would be great. But if we aren't, this card will probably not be good. The next card is Dragon Horde. This card is a 1 mana silver Dragoncraft. Put a Maelstrom Dragon into your hand, enhance 3, put 1 more into your hand. So if you don't already know from PDK, Maelstrom Dragon is a 3 mana 2/1 that overflow fanfare gains storm. So this card is very, very cool. I definitely think that this card will see actually a lot of play in a lot of different dragon variants, just because like it gives you free card advantage. It also essentially gives you more things to do with your mana when you need it. Like what. You might not know this, but I've actually been playing PDK a lot the last week or so. And one of the issues I have with PDK is that like sometimes I would just like run out of creatures to trigger my PDK with, and this card helps you avoid that. It also helps give you gas. It also helps you in the late game. Like if you top deck this, you'll feel great because you essentially get to play. You essentially for like 7 mana you'll get to, is it 7 mana? Yeah, for 7 mana, you'll get to be able to deal 4 to your opponent's face, and also have like 2 creatures in play, and also just be very, very annoying. This also triggers without a Zirnitra, Dragon Flame, which is also kind of cool. But yeah, definitely a great card. We'll be like surprised to see where it eventually finds its like permanent home in. But I definitely expect it to be splashed around in many different dragon lists in the coming set. The next card is Frostfire Dragon. So this card is really, really cool. I actually like this a lot, and I definitely think this card is a little bit better than people are giving it credit for. So this card is spam prayer, deal 3 to a random enemy follower. A random enemy follower can't attack next turn. So this card is really cool because, like, one issue that I find that comes up a lot when you're playing versus that of, like, say, Spawn Blood, is that, like, they play the spawn. If you're not on, say, 10 mana, you literally have to sit and watch as the spawn hits you in the face and kills you, and you feel awful about that. Whereas with this guy, you could now you can now just kind of freeze it, play a threat at the same time, and then kind of stall until you can, like, drop the Baja if you need to, or just kind of, like, threaten, like, counter lethal, something like that, and that's really cool. This card is also very, very good versus mid-range decks as well, just because this guy is kind of like an Oro, but it's like an Oro that doesn't need Evo. So generally what would happen when you play Oro is that you go ahead and you Oro ping a creature of your choice, you kill that creature obviously with the Oro ping, and then you evolve and you kill another creature. This card, without needing Evo, but having slightly tankier stats, can actually do all of that. This guy can actually go ahead and come out, kill a random creature, possibly, like, one of the things hurting this card is the fact that the ping is random, is that you can come out, potentially kill a creature, freeze another creature, and then evolve and kill a third creature. That's very, very impactful. And again, additionally, the other reason why it's nice is because, like, it helps you avoid that issue of needing Evos to always do things as Dragon, because, like, eventually at some point you're going to run out of Evos. When you run out of Evos, a lot of these cards are going to feel really bad. Not Frostfire Dragon, because Frostfire Dragon will always do something relevant when he comes out. Additionally, the art looks kind of sick too. Like, I didn't think the art was like this. It's not even bad. But yeah, definitely a card that I expect to, like, get better over time. Especially when people, like, realize the whole, like, Evo thing and the whole Evos are very, very hard to find commodity. But yeah, Basilisk Rider. So I mentioned earlier that they usually like every center, so we usually get, like, a card that's, like, close to meme or either, like, super meme. Basilisk Rider is pretty close to meme, but at the same time it's, like, not. The reason why is because, like, right, so you get a 4 mana 2/2, it has Bane, and they also get to summon a Basilisk. The Basilisk also has Bane, and I believe also triggers PDK at the same time too, which is kind of relevant, but not all, at the same time not relevant. So the Basilisk Rider is kind of slow. It also wants you to evolve it most times, or to like be ahead on board in some way, shape, or form. But you're usually gonna want to evolve it. But this is kind of nice because, like, even when it dies, unless it gets banished, usually you get like a buyback on your Evo, sort of, and that you can go ahead and kill a creature. If the Basilisk Rider dies, on your opponent's terms, it also means that when you get the Basilisk itself out, that you can essentially use the Basilisk to kill whatever you want on the board. That's kind of cool. The only thing that would have made this card slightly better is if it had higher base stats, slightly higher base stats, so that way it'd be, like, way, way better. But unfortunately, such is life. But definitely, it's a better card than people give it credit for. But this card is going to be, like, really, really good in Take 2. I don't know how good it will be in Constructed, though, just because, like, you're going to want to play a lot of things in Dragon right now, so. The next card is Dragon Aficionado. This one is spam prayer, summon a Fire Drake Whelp. It's a 3 mana 2/1, evolves into a 4/3. The Fire Drake Whelp, if I remember correctly, it's like a 2/1 or something like that, or it's either a 2/1 or a 1/1, and it's like last words deal 1 damage to an enemy follower. So this card is really good. This card is great because, like, it triggers PDK, which is great. Like, one of the things with PDK is that you want to be able to, on 7 mana, but before you wanted to be able to do this on, like, say 8 mana or something like that. But now you can go ahead and go PDK this guy, trigger 2 things. Trigger PDK twice. If you need to, you can go ahead and evolve the Fire Drake Whelp, trade into something, kill it, and then also ping something else and probably kill that as well. So this card is very, very good. It helps make PDK a little bit better, because one of the issues with PDK is that, like, you don't have enough ways to double proc PDK from one card, so you have to kind of, like, invest real cards into playing PDK, which means that if for some reason you get board wiped or something like that, like, you kind of run out of cards very, very fast, and they feel very, very bad, unless you can find, like, Fortes or, like, Azi Dahakas or things like that. But Forte doesn't exist in rotation format, and neither does Genesis Dragon, and neither does Erd, and all those kind of hurt PDK a little bit. But this card kind of helps like revitalize PDK, and that's kind of cool. The next card is Stormborne Wings. So this one is 1 mana, transform a Dragoncraft card into your hand into a 1 dragon. So this card is kind of cool. I don't know where this card will see play. Like, I think if this card sees play anywhere, it'll probably see play in PDK. It might also see play in Storm Dragon, but I definitely think it'll see more play in PDK. Or rather, sorry, the PDK thing is a more like realistic home for it, just because like you are going to be playing a lot of like potentially like dead cards in certain matches. Like for example, if you're playing versus control, Matilda's a dead card, or rather, sorry, the Firelords they get off of Matilda as a dead card. But oh, now you have Stormborne Wings. You can go ahead and transform that 2 mana 2/1 that does nothing into a 5/5 that has Storm. That's pretty good. I take those, but yeah, so again, it's just, you know, more like PDK support, which is good. I mean, it might see play in like actual like Ram Dragon or Storm Dragon, but the other thing is that like I don't like what exactly are you gonna be like what exactly are you gonna be like transmuting in those decks? Are you gonna be transmuting like exactly the Blazing Breaths or things like that? Like, but then what do you do for aggro? Is like my like question at the moment. So, I'm sure at some point someone will find like a very good answer to this question, but definitely at the moment I definitely think that this card will see play in PDK. All right, so now we get to the Basilisk token, which again, like I said, it's a 3 mana 1/1, evolves into a 3/3, and has Bane. You will almost assuredly almost never evolve this card, but you never know. And of course the Fire Drake Whelp. Alright, so it's a 1 mana 1/1. Last words do 1 damage to random enemy follower, and that evolves into a 3/3. The artwork actually looks fire too. Like, it kind of reminds me of Thousand Dragon from Yu-Gi-Oh! But yeah, definitely really cool. I believe this is gonna be like the last card, or yeah, yep, was the last card of part 2. So Dragoncraft to me, like, it's looking in a really good spot because like usually Dragoncraft, like, they usually end up getting like 4 or 5 like meme cards, only like maybe like say like 1 or 2 like good cards, but like a lot of the cards that we see from this is like are all like pretty good. Like for example, I expect PDK to see, sorry, not PDK, I expect Dragon Horde to see a lot of play. I expect Tower Warden Adelle to see a bit of play. Aiela Dragon Sword is going to see a lot of play. I also expect Frenzied Drake at some point, not immediately, but at some point to see play. And I also expect Zirnitra to see play, as well as Azi Dahaka, like, which is really good because again, a lot of times you usually have maybe say 2 or 3 cards in Dragoncraft that are like playable from a set, but having as many as these, like, it gives me hope, basically. If you enjoyed the video, go and leave a like, go and hit the subscribe button if you haven't. Let me know what you think of both my Runecraft and my Dragoncraft review. Did you like it? Did you hate it? What did you like? What did you hate? Thank you guys.